Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Before we get started, just a couple of announcements. On Sunday, which is 10th of April, we are going to celebrate Sri Ram Navami. Sri Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai. So that is the divine appearance day of Lord Ramachandra. On that day, the morning Srimad Bhagavatam class will be on the glories of Lord Ram, and the class will be given by Venuvada Prabhu. In the evening, we'll have Kirtan, and at 6 o'clock we'll have the festival class on Lord Ram. That will be given by Toshan Krishna Prabhu. 7 o'clock we'll have Gaurarti, and at 7:30 we will do Pushpanjali to Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. So we'll be having our Ram Darbar altar here. So everyone will get opportunity to offer flowers to Lord Ram. And at 7:40 we'll have Kirtan, glorifying Lord Ram. Kirtan to be led by Tribhuvanesh Prabhu. Prasadam feast will serve from 5:30 onwards. So that's the program for Sri Ram Navami festival. It's a wonderful opportunity to meditate on the glories of Lord Ram, about the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why he comes down from time to time in this material world. So it's a great opportunity for us to recommit ourselves to the promises we made to our spiritual master about following the Vaidhi Bhakti Sadhana. Lord Ramachandra, he is called as Maryada Purushottam, someone who followed the rules and regulations of the Shastras to the dot. So we can pray for the blessings of Lord Ram to bless us with similar conviction. So we can also please Guru and Gauranga by doing so. There are still some items available for sponsorship for the festival. So if you want to know more details about it, you can see the poster in our temple, or you will find it in our online media as well, in our website, Facebook, as well as in our WhatsApp group. So that's on 10th of April, which is a Sunday. On 12th and 13th, we are celebrating the Vyasa Puja of my spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. On 12th, which is a Tuesday, we'll be celebrating Adivas. As I was mentioning before, Adivas is a ceremony we celebrate or we observe to prepare our consciousness. It also marks the beginning of the festival. Usually it's celebrated or performed before the commencement of the actual festival. So we started the tradition. This is the Vaishnava tradition. If you go to Mayapur, they have Adivas for every single ceremony, every single festival throughout the year. Last year we started for anniversary, and we want to continue for anniversary as a 3-day festival. So one day we'll have Adivas, followed by Narsinga Chaturthasi the next day, and the following day will be the anniversary of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. So we'll continue with that tradition. And this year we are also going to start celebrate that way for Janmashtami as well. And we also strongly encourage the disciples of different spiritual masters to start observing the Vyasa Puja as a 2-day festival. One day for the day before Vyasa Puja, set aside for Adivas ceremony, and then the actual Vyasa Puja day. Then we glorify the spiritual master, offer Bhoga, and then distribute Prasadam. So on 12th, which is a Tuesday, we are celebrating Adivas. So we'll be performing a Narshinga Yagya that evening. We'll also be serving feast on Tuesday evening. And on Wednesday, which is the Ekadashi, Kamada Ekadashi, we'll also be observing the actual Vyasa Puja festival that evening. They will have the Vyasa Puja offerings, Guru Puja, Pushpanjali, Bhog offering, and then serving Mahaprasad. And if it rains heavily that day, just like how we observed the Tirobhav festival of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, we will start to serve prasadam inside the temple room. So that's the program for this week. Let's continue. Untitled Chapter 3, titled The Glories of Haridas Takura. So we saw, if you recollect, yesterday Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking Haridas Thakur how those who are Yavanas means those who don't follow Vedic culture, how will they be liberated? Because they don't follow the Varnashrama system, they don't follow rules and regulations of the Shastras. I was speaking to a devotee this evening, and he was asking me how he can increase his attachment for Shri Radha Gopinath. And he was saying that he was chanting 16 rounds for 3 months now. So he was asking genuinely how he can increase attachment to meditate on Shri Radha Gopinath, increase attachment for loving Shri Radha Gopinath. I was telling him, I was reading with him on Nectar of Instruction, Utsahat, Nishchayat, Dhairyat, how one should have enthusiasm, patience, very important, determination. And I was telling him, if you look at when we quit our body, we quit just the material body, physical body. And what goes as part of our reincarnation process when we go to the next body is not just the soul, but soul along with our subtle body, which is made of mind, intelligence and false ego. I was telling him, even according to modern science, they say it takes 7 years to get brand new body. Every single cell in our body, it dies within a 7-year period and you get a brand new body. Every single cell replaced, including brain cells. So I was telling him, if you eat prasad and Mahaprasad for 7 years, then your whole body will become Mahaprasad. Now, even for something as gross and as physical as our body to change, it takes 7 years. And this body is something we acquired only at the time of birth. Now, what to speak, if the body is taking gross physical body which we acquired just in this life, it takes 7 years to change, how much more time it will take to change our mind? Something which we have been carrying since time immemorial, millions and millions of years. How much conditioning it carried, how much samskaras it must be carrying, mental impression it must be carrying, how much vasanas, even as part of our past life, we would have picked up some bad habit, we would have even given up that bad habit even in the past life. Still, the vasana, the lingering taste, smell for the bad karma is still getting carried over into the next life. So it takes so much more time. Body itself takes 7 years at least to get new. And I asked him, how long have you been chanting 16 rounds? He said, 3 months. I said, how long have you been, is your mind conditioned to think like a karmi? He said, roughly about 1,000,000 years. I said, 3 months and 1,000,000 years. Still, you don't need to practice bhakti for another 1,000,000 years to get liberated. Still, it takes time. So we should never lose our patience. So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about Yavanas, somebody who don't know the religious principles. They just follow. How will they be liberated? So, in answer to that question, Haridas Thakur, he says, even when they kill animals, because they are meat eaters, when they kill animals, they chant Harama. And the glories of holy name is such that even if somebody chants the transcendental sound vibration even as a joke, without actually meaning it, the person will still take the benefit. And in response, or rather in reference to that point, he says about Ajamila. This is text, Antya chapter 3, text 57. Ajamila was a great sinner during his life, but at the time of death, he accidentally called for his youngest son, whose name was Narayana, and the attendants of Lord Vishnu came to relieve him from the bonds of Yamaraja, the superintendent of death. Yesterday we were discussing how there are 13 witnesses, one of them is Yamaraj himself. So he has seen what all sinful activities Ajamila did, and now he is getting delivered because he had unconsciously, accidentally, as it's mentioned here, accidentally chanted the holy name of the Lord. The word Rama consists of two syllables, Ra and Ma. These are unseparated and are decorated with the loving word Ha, meaning O. So Harama means O Rama. The letters of the holy name have so much spiritual potency that they act even when uttered improperly. If a devotee once utters the holy name of the Lord, this is from Padma Puran, if the devotee once utters the holy name of the Lord, or if it penetrates his mind or enters his ear, which is the channel of oral reception, that holy name will certainly deliver him from material bondage, whether vibrated properly or improperly, with a correct or incorrect grammar, or properly joined or vibrated in separated parts. So it's come up with all the permutations of how wrongly you can chant, but still it will have its effect. O Brahmana, the potency of the holy name is therefore certainly great. However, if one uses the vibration of the holy name for the benefit of the material body, for material wealth, and followers, or under the influence of greed or atheism, in other words, if one utters the name with offenses, such chanting will not produce the desired result very soon. I was listening to my Guru Maharaj, very old lecture, something I think he gave about like 2 decades ago. It was a japa workshop, and there he was saying, when we chant the holy name, we hold the beads, and we have to hold the beads on the middle finger, and using the thumb we count. This finger is usually considered a disrespectful finger. You use this to point at a person, not for glorification purpose, but just to pick fault. There goes the thief. He is the faulty one, so on and so forth. Or he is the one who did that mistake. So you use this mainly for accusing. So it's considered disrespectful. So we don't use that. So middle finger is what that we use. But he was saying, if you hold the beads in the ring finger or in the small finger, one finger will give you material result, and the other one will give you mystic perfection. I was sharing this point in one other class. One devotee at the end asked, Prabhu, which finger is mystic perfection? I said, I'm not going to tell you. May you keep guessing. I'm not going to tell you. I know, but I'm not going to tell you. So one finger, if you hold the beads, instead of middle finger, you hold in the other, it will give you all siddhi. Manima, Lagima, Prapti, Kama, Vashayata, Ishita, Vashitva, so on and so forth. Becoming lighter than the lightest, smaller than the smallest, heavier than the heaviest, so on and so forth. And the other finger, if you have any material desire, it will fulfill. I can see smile in everyone's face. But we don't chant holy name for that purpose. So here it's given, if one utters the holy name for any of these purposes, which is for the benefit of material body, so on and so forth, such chanting will not produce the desired result very soon. Therefore, one should diligently avoid offenses in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Namacharya Haridas Takura continued, if one offenselessly utters the holy name, even imperfectly, one can be freed from all the results of sinful life. O reservoir of all good qualities, just worship Sri Krishna, the purifier of all purifiers, the most exalted of the personalities worshipped by choice poetry. Worship him with a faithful, unflinching mind, without duplicity and in a highly elevated manner. Thus worship the Lord, whose name is like the sun. For just as a slight appearance of the sun dissipates the darkness of night, so a slight appearance of the holy name of Krishna can drive away all the darkness of ignorance that arises in the heart due to greatly sinful activities performed in previous lives. Very important. Some mistakes we do, we are able to repent, we are able to atone, and we can come out of the consequence of that sinful action. However, many sins that we did, many conditionings that we have accrued as a result of some activities we did in our past life which we don't remember, then even effects of those can be completely nullified, eradicated by taking shelter of the holy name of the Lord. Even a faint light from the holy name of the Lord can eradicate all reactions of sinful life. While dying, Ajamila chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayana. Nevertheless, he attained the spiritual world. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with faith and reverence? So we know pastime of Ajamila. When he calls his son Narayana, how many syllables are there in Narayana? Good. From yesterday. No more 64. So, 4. Simply by chanting Narayana, he invoked the blessings of Vishnu and Vishnu Tudas. They come, they argue with Yamadudas, send off Yamadudas, and without even speaking a word to Ajamila, the Vishnu Tudas also go away. So, Ajamila had the shock of his life, or whatever that was left. So then he immediately gives up his sinful ways, goes to Haridwar, practices japa. He takes the shelter of a temple, worships the Supreme Lord, and spends his life simply chanting japa. And when he attained perfection, when from Namabhasa he comes to Shuddhanama, from shadow chanting he comes to pure chanting. At that time, the same 4 Vishnu Tudas come, and this time they are very happy to see his progress. Smilingly, they invite him to aboard Vaikuntha Airlines, and he goes back to spiritual world. So this is what awaits those who take shelter of the holy name. Because of even the faintest rays of the effulgence of the Lord's holy name, one can attain liberation. We can see this in all the revealed scriptures. The evidence appears in the story of Ajamila in Srimad Bhagavatam. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this from Haridas Takura, the happiness within his heart increased. But as a matter of course, he still inquired further. So this section, as we saw yesterday, this is the conversation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur on the topic of the glories of the holy name. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, first he asked about Yavanas. Yavanas are humans still. But now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pushing this topic even further. He is saying on this earth there are many living entities. The Lord said, some moving and some not moving. What will happen to the trees, plants, insects and other living entities? How will they be delivered from material bondage? Haridas Thakur replied, my dear Lord, the deliverance of all moving and non-moving living entities takes place only by your mercy. You have already granted this mercy and delivered them. You have loudly chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, and everyone, moving or not moving, has benefited by hearing it. My Lord, the moving entities who have heard your loud Sankirtana have already been delivered from bondage to the material world. And after the non-moving living entities like trees hear it, there is an echo. So how are moving entities and non-moving entities, how are they getting delivered? Moving entity is easy. If there is an animal and an animal hears it, because of hearing the holy name, the animal goes back to spiritual world. We were discussing story of a puppy who was delivered by baby Nimai. We come across story of a dog that gets delivered by eating Mahaprasad in Puri. Likewise, there are many instances of different creatures who get delivered. In Gaurdaha, past time we come across a story of a little boy who's a demigod, son of a demigod, who goes and he offends, unfortunately, of all the people, Durvasa Muni, by cutting off his matted hair. So Durvasa Muni curses him. Because you cut my matted hair, I'm going to curse you to be a crocodile. So then, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later, he takes the Harinam party to that place. There is a huge lake there. Jagadananda Pandit is also there. In fact, he writes this pastime. So, when he goes there, even though there is a huge body of water in that lake, none of the cows dare to go and drink the water because they fear for their life due to the presence of a crocodile. Then finally, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes and does holy Harinam on the shore of the lake. Then, true to everyone's fear, this huge crocodile walks out and then it touches the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. As soon as it touches, it gets delivered straight away. So, you will come across many pastimes that are related to animals also, moving entities, not in human form, moving entities, but they eventually get delivered by the power and potency of the holy name. Now, what about non-moving living entities like trees? So, for that, Haridas Takura is saying, and after the non-moving living entities like trees hear it, there is an echo. So, when you chant the holy name of the Lord louder, there is an echo that comes. The holy name goes, hits the trees and comes back. There is an echo. That echo is their chanting of the holy name. Okay, the reason for the echo is these non-moving living entities, and because of that, they take the benefit of chanting the holy name, and that way they also get delivered. Actually, however, it is not an echo. It is the kirtana of non-moving living entities. All this, although inconceivable, is possible by your mercy. When loud chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is performed all over the world by those who follow in your footsteps, all living entities, moving and non-moving, dance in ecstatic devotional love. My dear Lord, all the incidents that took place while you were going to Vrindavana through the forest known as Jarikanda, that's another example. You see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the animals there. Okay, this is in Vrindavana. So, be it in Vrindavana or on the way to Vrindavana, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passes through this forest of Jarikanda, there also he makes all the living entities to chant. Even when in this pastime of Shivananda Sena, who is accompanied by a dog, or the dog just somehow it comes, joins his party, Shivananda Sena takes care of the dog as yet another member of the group. And then suddenly one day the dog goes missing. And then Shivananda Sena feels very sorry. But when he comes to Puri, he feels very happy because right next to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the dog is there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was throwing coconut pulp to the dog, telling the dog, chant the holy name of the Lord. And the dog was chanting, bow, bow. Hari bol. And the dog, after some days, it left its body. So, this place is like that. If you go to Puri, there are many places. In fact, there are specifically 5 kundas. I was thinking, just like how we did seminar for Navadvip Dham, I think we should do for Puri. There are a lot of places. There is a place called Rohini Kunda. 5 tirthas are given that are capable of liberating anyone who goes and takes a dip once, or someone even sprinkles water on their head. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, in Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord takes the form of wood and takes the form of water. Wood is Daru Brahma, which is Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Maharani. And in the form of liquid, question for all of you. Take a guess. Okay, I take that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Kali Yuga, actually, Supreme Lord takes two forms. Especially in Kali Yuga. Especially to deliver those in Kali Yuga. One is in form of a wood, which is Lord Jagannath. And one is in the form of water. Closer. Ganga. So, Ganga is also considered non-different from Krishna. Liquid Brahma. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there. So, if you go to Puri, there are many tirthas. 5 are considered. Or when I say tirtha, I meant bodies of water. Holy place is also called as tirtha. So, one of them is Rohini Kunda. Last time when Pralaya happened, when the water level rises, Samvartaka cloud also pours down. Reminds me of what I read in weather report today, actually. They are rain bomb. I'm learning new words in vocabulary. What is this? 6-hourly rain. So, we are getting some sample. So, when Mahapralaya happens, at that time water level rises, it's mentioned, the water level starts to rise from Rohini Kunda only. And then, at the dawn of creation, even when Ardha Pralaya or half Pralaya, or the Pralaya that happens every time the lower 11 planetary systems that get submerged, every time Lord Brahma goes to sleep at the end of his day. The remnants of that water is what makes up Rohini Kunda. So if you want to know how the Mahapralaya water looks like, go to Puri and visit Rohini Kunda. So it's given, that's the water. That is from previous Pralaya. And next time when Pralaya happens, the same water from there, it will start to flood and then the water level will start to rise again. So like that in Puri there are many kundas, pushkarinis, you will come across ponds, so on and so forth. So here, moving entities like animals, they get delivered. Reptiles, animals, 4-legged animals. Everyone gets delivered by hearing the holy name, but non-moving living entities, they get delivered by simply echoing the holy name of the Lord. My dear Lord, all these incidents that took place while you were going to Vrindavana through the forest known as Jarikanda have been related to me by your servant Balabhadra Bhattacharya. When your devotee Vasudevadata submitted his plea at your lotus feet for the deliverance of all living entities, you accepted that request. My dear Lord, you have accepted the form of a devotee just to deliver all the fallen souls of this world. So Vasudevadata, one of most confidential associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he tells to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, I feel so sorry for the pathetic state of these fallen conditioned souls. And we saw yesterday, Gaudiya Vaishnavism is incomplete without preaching, without sharing Krishna's mercy with other people. And we were discussing yesterday about how, by definition, Uttama Adhikari means he or she who constantly makes plan to deliver other fallen conditioned souls, who constantly meditates on how to expand on the movement. That is Uttama Adhikari platform. So here, Vasudevadata, Uttama Adhikari, he tells to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, you descended down to reclaim back all the fallen conditioned souls. You please transfer all the sinful reactions of all the living entities. 8.4. This is also again, yesterday we were discussing, devotees always, pure devotees, they offer very strange prayers. Kunti Maharani, we discussed about, may this Tatra Jagadguru, may these problems keep on coming to me again and again. Vasudevadata is going to one level further, and he is saying not only his sinful actions, sinful activities, of course he didn't do anything. He says, may the sinful reactions of all living entities, please transfer all of them to me, and you take all of them. And he says, I don't mind staying here and suffering for eternity in this material world. When I read that, I'm like, the devotees keep raising the bar in their prayers, if you see. So difficult. And here we have headache and we are going and praying to Radha Gopinath. My Lord, please. In one visit, Prabhupada is going in train. Somebody is coming, Swamiji, I need blessing. Prabhupada says, see, if I give you blessing, you will become like these people. And he's pointing at all shaven-headed brahmacharis. Do you want this? No, Swamiji. So then Prabhupada says, what Ashirwad do you want? Then he says, I have this knee problem. Prabhupada says, go to the doctor. So for knee problem, don't go to spiritual master. Go to the doctor. So spiritual master means one who is able to take us from this conditioned state to a liberated state. And such a spiritual master, because they do the thankless task of descending down, they are also pure devotees. They don't need to come down, but they come down simply to reclaim us back to the spiritual world. So that we can never repay back. So that's why in one morning walk, one disciple is asking Prabhupada, my only prayer is, I don't want to leave your lotus feet. May I always be with you. Prabhupada said, you attend Guru Puja? He says, yes. You sing Janma Janme Prabhu say, Chakudan Dilojay Janma Janme Prabhu say. Then Prabhupada says, that prayer is already there. It's granted. Don't worry. That's why Guru Puja is so important. So here it's given, Vasudevadata, he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu respond to this very unusual boon? Many times we think, if only I appeared. If only I took birth during Lord Krishna's time, during Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. We think practicing bhakti would have been so easy. We could have just directly walked up to the Supreme Lord and asked for deliverance. How many of you have thought like that? Come on. So many times. But then you look at the psychology of devotees who appeared actually during that time only, as not just yet another soul, but as one of the most confidential devotees. What is their mood? What are they asking? Walking up to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and saying, my Lord, please take me back to Godhead? No. They are saying, Vasudevadata is exemplifying. Their mood is again, Uttamadhikari means their constant anxiety is simply to deliver all the fallen conditioned souls. Like yesterday we saw Haridas Takura is pacifying the Lord. My Lord, please don't be in anxiety. Your holy name will take care of other people. This is again very strange prayer. When it comes to, for a layman like us to even see, even comprehend, fathom the depth of that prayer, very difficult. Inconceivable. The devotee consoling the Supreme Lord. What is this? Who is the Lord here? We get confused. Demigod worshippers will have no idea. Until we came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's movement, we also had no idea. We were taught God means He can give you everything. Whatever you need, you can go and ask. And we always have regrets. Maybe I should have asked more. And then you make a list. Next time you go, you keep on adding. This is our understanding of God. But look at here, the prayer of Vasudevadata. He is saying, please transfer all the sinful reactions to me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu responds to that by saying, Vasudevadata, first of all, it's no strange that you are feeling this way. After all, you are Prahlad Maharaj. Vasudevadata is Prahlad Maharaj. And then secondly, he says, Why do you think Krishna is so hard-hearted that he will deliver everyone else but you? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, simply by your desire, all these living entities are already delivered. So, if you go back 500 years, you look in even history. I was once looking through that. I think even Columbus, he also appeared in that time. I thought, yeah, even Columbus went back to Godhead. Every living entity, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. And then it is given. In fact, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will give example. When Lord Ram went, he took all Ayodhya Vasis back. When Krishna, when he was Dwarkadish, he finally visits Vrindavan, he goes there, and then all Brajabasis, they plead Krishna, saying, my Lord, we can never feel this fire of separation anymore. Please take us with you. Then Krishna says, all right. Krishna asks them to close their eyes. They close their eyes. Dwarkadish is there, obviously. Vrajendra Nandan Krishna is there. When they open their eyes, the entire population of Vrajabasi, they find themselves on board a very special chariot. And Vrajendra Nandan Krishna drives the chariot, takes them back to Golok Vrindavan. And then Dwarkadish Krishna goes back again. So later on, after the disappearance or Maushala Leela, at that time when Vajranab, everyone comes to Vrindavan, Vrindavan is empty because Krishna took everyone. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, same pastime happened when Lord Ramachandra also came, when he came to Ayodhya. He came, and when he left, he took everyone. So Ayodhya was practically deserted. And then other living entities came and filled the place, as much as it happened in Vrindavana. So here, Vasudevadata, and you will see same mood once they are asking Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, if we keep on distributing these books, if we keep on chanting the holy name of the Lord, if we keep on distributing prasad, if we make everyone in this world Krishna conscious, then there won't be any purpose in this of this whole universe. What will happen to this universe? Prabhupada says, yes, finish it. Then you will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says that point, and he says, if you take a whole bag full of mustard seeds, where each seed is almost equal to an universe, if one seed gets lost, he says, what's the loss? Meaning, finish it. Which means, deliver everyone from this world. So this is the mood when we think of making, we were discussing about Uttamadhikaris making plans to deliver in this world. Everyone means everyone. All living entities. Not just in this world, in all 14 planetary systems. In one place, Prabhupada, he is actually saying in the morning work, when the point comes about 8.4 million species, Prabhupada is clarifying, it's not that all 8.4 million species, they exist in this world. Some species exist in this, some other species exist in some other planet, and still some more in yet another planet. But Vaishnava's compassion, they extend to all the 8.4 million species. Jalaja Navalakshani, Stavara Laksha Vimshati, Krimiyo, Rudra Sankehaha, Pakshinam, Dasalakshanam, Trimshalakshani, Pashavaha, Chaturlakshani Manushaha. Jalaja Navalakshani, 900,000 aquatics. Stavara Laksha Vimshati, 2 million varieties of plants. Krimayo, Rudra Sankekaha. Insects, worms, reptiles, 1.1 million. Pakshinam, Dasalakshanam, 1 million varieties of birds. Trimshalakshani Pashavaha, 3 million varieties of beasts. Chaturlakshani Manushaha, 400,000 varieties of humans. Padma Puran gives this breakdown and it says 8.4 million species. Vaishnava's compassion extends to all the 8.4 million species. My dear Lord, You have accepted the form of a devotee just to deliver all the fallen souls of this world. You have preached the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and in this way freed all moving and non-moving living entities from material bondage. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, if all living entities are liberated, the entire universe will be devoid of living beings. Haridas said, my Lord, as long as you are situated within the material world, you will send to the spiritual sky all the developed moving and non-moving living entities in different species. Then again you will awaken the living entities who are not yet developed and engage them in activities. In this way, all moving and non-moving living entities will come into existence and the entire universe will be filled as it was previously. What he means here is, when the Mahapralaya happens, when Mahavishnu, we see the Lord there, when he inhales, all the universes go into him. Universes get destroyed, all the living entities go into his body and they take rest, sleep. It is mentioned just like how a mother would carry the baby within her womb for 10 months before giving birth. Similarly, we also come from within the body of Mahavishnu. Advaita Acharya is incarnation of Mahavishnu. So Advaita Acharya, he has motherly love upon all living entities in all universes. Advaita Acharya is very, very merciful because it was only due to his loud, prayerful plea did the Supreme Lord agree to descend. When he worshipped the Supreme Lord by offering Ganga water to Shaligram Shila as well as Tulasi Manjaris, calling out the Supreme Lord, you please come down and you please deliver all these people. On his request only Supreme Lord came down. And you will find in the pastime later, same Advaita Acharya will send a crypted message telling to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you came down to sell your goods in the marketplace. Now the market is already flooded and is replete with your goods. Now we can go back as you wish. When devotees actually read that, they couldn't understand. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reads, he smiles, agreeing that his pure devotee, Advaita Acharya, he is capable of bringing him to this planet and he is capable of sending him also. He tells him, now my Lord, you may leave whenever you wish to. And you will find similar prayers offered by Lord Brahma in 11th canto to Lord Sri Krishna. Initially, in the first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, or rather in first chapter of 10th canto, you will see advent of Lord Krishna. So there all the demigods go to Brahmaji, and then Brahmaji goes, sits in meditation on the shore of the milk ocean, and Krishna tells him that he would soon descend. And you fast forward, 10th canto finishes, you go to 11th canto. 6-7 chapters, just at the start of Uddhava Gita, you will see Brahma again, accompanied by all the demigods. He visits Krishna again, thanking him for successfully fulfilling the mission, and tells him, my Lord, now the balance between religion and irreligion is re-established. Demons are all killed. Now you may, thank you very much. Now you may leave whenever you feel like. This is a good etiquette for us whenever we offer prayers to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. Whenever we have any trouble, problem, distress, we come and offer prayers. But how many times do we remember to thank him after he fulfills our prayers? Usually we don't. We forget. But we see the etiquette there clearly. Lord Brahma, how he offers the prayers, not only at the start, at the end as well. We see Advaita Acharya, who is none other than Mahavishnu. So here, Haridas is saying, My Lord, as long as you are situated within the material world, you will send to spiritual sky all the moving and non-moving living entities in different species. You understand that part? Second part is, then again you will awaken the living entities who are not yet developed and engage them in activities. In other words, he will keep sending more because there are always eternally rebelling souls also, unlimited souls. So, as long as Supreme Lord is here in this world, as long as the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here, everyone will keep going to spiritual world. They will never come down. But then fresh, new candidates will come. In this way, all moving and non-moving living entities will come into existence and the entire universe will be filled as it was previously. Previously, when Lord Ramachandra left this world, he took with him all the living entities of Ayodhya. He filled Ayodhya again with other living entities. My dear Lord, you have set a plan in motion by descending to the material world, but no one can understand how you are acting. Formerly, when Lord Krishna descended in Vrindavana, he freed all living entities in the universe from material existence in the same way. Krishna, the unborn Supreme Personality of Godhead, master of masters of mystic power, delivers all living entities, moving and non-moving. Nothing is astonishing in the activities of the Lord. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead may be seen, glorified or remembered with an attitude of envy, he nevertheless awards the most confidential liberation, which is rarely achieved by the demigods and demons. What then can be said of those who are already fully engaged in devotional service to the Lord? This is from Vishnu Purana. By descending as an incarnation at Navadvipa, you, just like Krishna, have already delivered all the living entities of the universe. One of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name is Navadvip Narayan. One may say that he understands the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He may know whatever he may know, but as far as I am concerned, this is my conclusion. This is what Haridas Takura is saying. Nobody can understand the full extent of the glories of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My dear Lord, your pastimes are just like an ocean of nectar. It is not possible for me to conceive how great that ocean is, or even to understand a drop of it. Hearing all this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was astonished. These are actually my confidential pastimes. He thought, how could Haridasa have understood them? And you will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exclaiming similar surprise when he reads the verses of Srila Rupa Goswami in Vidagdha Madhava. And he asks even Swarup Damodar, how does Rupa Goswami know the inner meaning of how I act, of what verses I actually recite? At that time, Swarup Damodar says, my Lord, how can anyone understand you unless you empower that person in question with your Shakti, with your mercy to understand you? So same way, here also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is astonished. These are actually my confidential pastimes. Hey, I thought this is a secret. How did Haridas Thakur come to know? How did Haridas Thakur come to know? Of course, it's due to the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only. Greatly satisfied by the statements of Haridas Thakura, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him. Outwardly, however, he avoided further discussions of these matters. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was surprised. How did Haridas Thakur know about my identity? But then externally he didn't entertain the topic and he changed the topic. This is a characteristic of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he wants to cover his opulence, he cannot do so before his devotees. This is well known everywhere. O my Lord, everything within material nature is limited by time, space and thought. Your characteristics, however, being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental to such limitations. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, but nevertheless, your unalloyed devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. Prabhupada writes in 7th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, knowledge means to understand what is matter, what is spirit, and the source of both. There are 5 topics that are discussed in Bhagavad-Gita. Anyone knows that? What are the 5 topics of Bhagavad-Gita? We have a Bhakti Shastri here. What are the 5 topics that are covered in Bhagavad-Gita? Anyone knows? Take a shot. 1 at least. Okay, soul, I take it. Anything else? Confidential knowledge, okay. Relationship between who and who? Jiva and Supreme Lord, okay, I take it. Modes of nature, Prakriti, yes. We are getting there. Good. 1, 2, 3. Kala, time. One more. He mentioned it already. Starts with K. Sadhu, sadhu. K for karma. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. 5 topics. Ishvara is Supreme Lord. It's in Introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Please read. It's not confidential knowledge. It's in where, even before you read the first verse, it's right there in the introduction. Ishvara, Supreme Lord. Jiva, individual living soul. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, nature. Kala, time, and Karma, activity. So these are the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, it's an introduction to Bhagavad Gita, you can read. So Prabhupada says, knowledge means to know about matter, spirit, and the source of both. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti. So we need to know all the 3. So Prabhupada, he actually writes in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that is complete knowledge. If somebody can't explain about what is spiritual and what is material, then the knowledge is not complete. If somebody says in material, that's why we call people karmis. Karmis means they can talk about only the material realm, and that too not completely. To a certain extent only they can do. In order to talk about just the material nature, material energy to its completion, one should still practice Sankhya Yoga. To analyze the whole material energy into 24 elements. Panchabhuta, Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, Tanmatra. Then you have Mano, Buddhi, Ahankar, Pradhana. That's 24 altogether. If you want to know more, you can read in 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The instructions of Lord Kapila to his mother Devahuti about Sankhya Yoga. He analyzes that in detail. So the whole idea of Sankhya Yoga is they'll study everything and they will come to the conclusion, Neti Neti. Neti Neti means Naiti, Naiti. This is not. Means this is just matter. This can't be the source. This can't be the... Like that, they dissect the whole material realm into 24 elements, coming to the conclusion that none of these can be the source of existence. So that is studying matter. Then of course we have Brahma Vidya, Atmajnana, studying about soul, but most important, the source of both. Janmadi Yasya Yataha, very first line of Srimad Bhagavatam teaches about the origin of both. Janmadi Yasya Yataha means, Prabhupada says, who God is can understand from this first 3 words of Srimad Bhagavatam. When you get chance, go through it, word to word translation. Janmadi Yasya Yataha, he from whom everything emanates, that is God. Prabhupada says, this is the shortest, quickest definition of God. Most precise, terse definition. In another place, Prabhupada says, who is God can be summed up in 5 words. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says like that. Okay, so this is Supreme Lord. So this is the characteristic of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he wants to cover his opulence, he cannot do so before his devotees. This is well known everywhere. O my Lord, everything within material nature is limited by time, space and thought. Your characteristics, however, being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental to such limitations. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, but nevertheless, your unalloyed devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to his personal devotees and began speaking about Haridas Takura's transcendental qualities as if he had hundreds of mouths. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu derives great pleasure from glorifying his devotees, and among the devotees, Haridas Takura is the foremost. The transcendental qualities of Haridas Takura are innumerable and unfathomable. One may describe a portion of them, but to count them all is impossible. In the Chaitanya Mangala, Srila Vrindavan Das Takura has described the attributes of Haridas Thakur to some extent. No one can describe all the qualities of Haridas Thakura. One may say something about them just to purify himself. This is very important. If we glorify the good qualities of devotees, any good quality of devotee, we will get 1/6 of that quality. Have you heard that before? We were discussing story of Alabandar or Yamunacharya, how in a debate with Kolahala, he asks if this king is pure, free of any inebriety, free of any contaminating qualities, any impurities. And then he says, a king, even though he may be pure on his part, will still take 1/6 of the reactions of all actions, all sinful activities also. He'll take 1/6 of everything. So a king, he says, net result will always be impure because you will never get a kingdom where everyone is a pure devotee. So this is how he challenges. In material world, it's practically impossible. So, converse is also true. Bhagavatam speaks about a great king by name Gaya, how he took care of his prajas, Poshana, Prinana, Upalalana, Anushashana, how some people he kept them happy by serving them nice prasadas. So they are satisfied, everyone. So that way he cared for everyone as all-loving mother. To some he gave gifts also to his prajas and they felt happy. A king can give gifts from his personal account. Whatever he collects as tax, generally, Prabhupada says, in Vedic times, anybody can take a piece of land and they can grow. They say, even if you see in Arabic countries, you would have come across Emir. Have you come across? Like Emirates. Emir is a title. Technically, by definition, they own all the land in which there is no other construction. They technically own the whole country. Okay, so construction is a very big business there. So in Vedic times also, the king technically owns everything, but anybody can take it. They grow whatever they want to, but 1/6 should go to the king as tax. But whatever the king collects, Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, just like how the cloud, or rather sun, it evaporates the water, collects it as cloud, and then at the time of need it then pours forth, again inundating the whole world in the form of rainfall. Similarly, the king also is supposed to collect the taxes, but Prabhupada says he is also supposed to give like rainfall. Usually in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada says taxes people just take but nothing coming back. In fact, one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga, that's how it's mentioned. It will be, the tax rate will be so high, people can no longer pay and they will go and live in caves in the forest. It's given like that. It's there. One of the symptoms of Kali Yuga is like that. I was like, looks like it started a while ago, you know. So it's given. It's there in Bhagavatam. Okay, so this is the duty of king. So he can give gifts. But the gifts, he can't actually give from the tax he collects, because that is a general public property. But the king will have his own personal treasury. when the things which he receives as gifts, some other king may give him. Some place where he goes to conquers, somebody may gift him. They all come under his own personal account. That he can gift. So that's where he gets the wealth for giving charity. You come across kings giving charity. That's not from the tax collected. One devotee asked me that question actually. Prabhu, what's the credit of the king, Prabhuji? Anyway, devotees are giving, people are giving them tax. How is that counted as charity? That's not given as charity. What is given as charity is from the king's personal chest, treasure chest. That he gives. So this king, Gaya, he gave gifts. He arranged for food. He took care of them nicely, giving them nice instructions. So in this way it's given, and Bhagavatam says the Brahmanas in his country were so pleased with him, they were so happy to part 1/6 of their punya to him. Can you imagine how much the king must have pleased the people? They are saying, if somebody comes and asks you, can you give me 1/6? Prabhu, I don't know how much I have, first of all, to give you. That will be our answer. But Gaya was like that. Now, when we glorify any qualities of devotees, we will get 1/6 of it ourselves. All you have to do is just to glorify it. It's so simple. So, and if you really want that quality, what are you supposed to do? Either you glorify the same devotee 6 times, or you glorify 6 different devotees, on the same quality. You will get that quality. Very easy. So easy. So here, O devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please hear something about the qualities of Haridas Takura that Srila Vrindavan Das Takura has not described in detail. And now he will narrate about pastimes of Haridas Thakur. There are a few pastimes that will come, and we'll read them on Monday. I think we'll have class on Monday only next week. Tuesday we have the Adivas. Wednesday we have Vyasa Puja. So we won't have class on both the days. So I think we'll still be able to cover a couple of pastimes. Yes, Prabhuji.
Bhagavad-Gita says that once a living entity reaches a spiritual world, it then fall back or it never come down. So the 79th shloka seems to say something different.
Bhagavad-Gita, what does it say? Yadgatva na nivartante taddama paramam mama. 79th verse, what is it saying? Then again you will awaken the living entities who are not yet developed and engage them in activities, which means they haven't reached the spiritual world yet. Bhagavad-Gita says, by definition, Nitya Baddhas means those who fall down once. After you fall down, you practice Bhakti Yoga and you reach the spiritual world. Yadgatva na nivartante. Once you return back to spiritual world, same jiva will never fall down again. It's a different jiva who is in the process of falling down, because there are unlimited jivas. Krishna, he creates unlimited jivas. And among those jivas, some will be Nitya Siddha jivas who never fall down. And some will be like us. Now, whose population is more? Shastras say, we think this world population is more. 3/4 of the population are Nitya Siddhas. They never fall down. Only 1/4 they take birth in material world. So the population of spiritual world is always more than what is in material world. If we look around and we think, wow, so many species, so many, one sack full of mustard seeds, this is nothing compared to spiritual world. Spiritual world, there are many, many, many more living entities. But what is mentioned here is, Krishna says, because our question that will always come to our mind is, if Krishna says, Yadgatva na nivartante, why did I fall down in the first place? Correct? One time we'll fall down. One time we will touch the fire and we'll get our finger burnt. That's Nitya's Baddha. Unfortunately, we learn by experience. That one thing alone. So once we fall down, but that falling down experience itself is taking us millions of lives. But after somehow by being in contact with devotees, mercy of Prabhupada, we go back. Yadgatva na nivartante. Once you go back, you never fall down. That's Krishna's promise. First time we fall down, that's our free will. Second time onwards, we'll never fall down. That's Krishna's promise. Okay?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking these questions to great personality like Haridas Takura. What is the idea behind that? Does he want to not only glorify Haridas Takura, but also he wants to show an example to the conditioned living beings that, okay, some personality among us actually reiterating these facts. Is that the idea?
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says he can't understand why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does some things. Externally we may be able to give one or two reasons, but we'll never come to the end of pinpointing this is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu behaves in a certain way. That's Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I think it will be impudent of me to comment on that.
Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, "Oh Arjuna, only declare Nami Ghanashyam. Only declare my devotee never perishes."
That's one way of looking at it in this context also, because through Krishna could have said it, but he is telling Arjuna to say it. Why? Because Krishna has 100% track record of fulfilling his devotee's promise. As far as his promise goes, sometimes Krishna cheats, so that is one way of looking at it. That's one perspective. But we can never say that is the only reason. Because that's the approach of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I think it's safe to just stick to that. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Shri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai. Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath's devotees ki jai. Devotees in Mayapur TV, YouTube and Facebook ki jai. Jai Nittai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.